I don't have a regular job. I actually think this is a good thing. It's part of being an entrepreneur. But I was thinking about what I could talk about today, and when you start reflecting back, even over a couple years, you think about all the things you can talk about. And for me, what I want to share today is what I wish I would have known when I was sitting in your seat. I think Dan mentioned from Beatbox that he was sitting in your seat a year ago. I was sitting in your seat about 5 years ago. So I hope to share those lessons and basically talk about my startup journey. So if you notice this picture, right, there's a picture of a boat, maybe going to the Arctic, and it looks exciting, right? I mean, I look at that and I'm like, oh, I want to go on that expedition. And I think there's a lot of similarities between startups and journeys or startups and expeditions. But to be fair, this isn't actually what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Right? And so what does that mean? It means that you're doing something new and unknown. You're developing a new product. And so naturally, there's going to be all kinds of course corrections. You're going to get lost. There's going to be rogue waves that are 40 feet high that you couldn't have accounted for or predicted. So I think Einstein said it best when he said that experience is a hard teacher. First comes the test, and then comes the lesson. And because of that, I want to share what I've learned over the last few years in starting my first venture-backed company. And all you really need to know to start a successful company is drink a lot of coffee. Actually, funny enough, I didn't start drinking coffee until graduate school. But there's a quote from a documentary I watched not too long ago that says, anything's possible with enough coffee. And from a respected colleague, hot coffee, he says. So these are the 6 lessons that I want to talk about. So the first is, don't be a bystander. Be innovative, not inventive. Getting lost is awesome. This is one of my favorite things. And now you're seeing some similarities to expeditions. And then to find something worth failing for, go to the source of the problem, and that people or relationships matter more than any idea you have or any technology you're developing. So having said that, I would like to ask you to participate with a quick exercise. So if you're willing to participate, because when I was sitting there, I wasn't always willing to participate, please stand up. Stand up quickly. No, I'm just kidding. It's not showing up on the monitor. I don't know if it matters. Okay, so everyone's standing up. Almost everyone. Okay, so remain standing if you, over the course of your career, want to work on a product or technology or idea that has a significant impact on society. Okay, so we still have everyone, or most everyone. Okay, stay standing up if you are currently working on that, either in a team or on something of your own. Okay, so we're starting to lose people. Okay, now of those who are still standing, please remain standing if you've spoken to over 15 people whose problem it is that you would be directly solving. Okay, so we have some left, so I have one more. Remain standing if you are convinced that you understand that group's problem well enough that when you solve it, they're going to be very excited, very happy, and maybe even give you a hug. Okay, now, we have very few, so just take a look around, okay? And I'd like to ask you somebody, what are you working on?
I'm co-founding a bike share.
Okay. So you've spoken to a lot of people, right?
A lot.
And you feel like you understand their problem. And they probably know that you care about their problem. So go ahead and sit down. But the point is, look how many people were left. So what's the point? The point is, a lot of us have a shared fundamental desire to do something that matters, to put ourselves into a worthy endeavor, right? We want to do something that has some significance, right? To spend our lives doing something that's exciting. And you wouldn't be sitting in this room right now if you weren't smart and motivated. But look at how many people were standing up at the end. So what's going on there? Why is it that we care about solving problems, but we haven't even engaged with the problem itself? It's something called the bystander effect, or possibly called the bystander effect. I don't know. So you see this poor soul on the ground here. I thought I had a laser pointer, right? And then everyone is watching. They're like, oh, somebody else will help them. I don't need to help them. I mean, this has happened to me. I've been on both sides of this. In the case of like just something simple like my car battery going dead, I'm sitting in a parking lot late at night. And I put my hood up because I need to jump, and cars just drive by. Everyone thinks, oh, he must have AAA. Oh, he must know somebody who's on the way to help him. Or somebody else is going to stop. But what's amazing is when somebody does stop and help you, you do want to hug them, right? Because they just solved the problem that matters to you. And for me, there was one car parked behind me, and this lady a little bit older than me, it was her car. And she came and she offered help. But by then, my wife was about 2 minutes away, so I said, it's fine, she's around the corner. And she said, oh, are you sure? And I said, yeah. And so she goes to her car, and she starts it and turns on the light in her car. But she doesn't drive away. And I'm like, I wonder what she's doing. So then, I hook up the cables, and I jump my car, and I look back there, and she's still sitting in her car with her lights on. And I'm like, well, why is she even still here? But we're starting to now realize she's there to make sure that my problem's solved. And she didn't leave until I drove away. And that made me feel great, right? Because she really cared about my problem. And she solved one problem, which was mine, but she actually solved it. She wasn't any of these people who are watching. And so, me personally, I have a background, as you heard, in the sciences. I also have a background in startups. But to me, when I first started my career in applied physics, and applied physics, if you aren't familiar, is basically half physics and half electrical engineering. So I took a lot of classes up here in the East building. But when I started out, I was basically in the lab thinking, wow, I have all this amazing equipment, all these amazing minds around me. We can solve some amazing world problems. But what I didn't appreciate was that I needed to get out of the lab and go encounter and engage those problems firsthand before I could really begin to understand them. So I was this dude at some point, and my hope is that nobody else is, right? So go to the problem, engage the problem. Don't be a bystander, and don't say it's not my problem. If you care about it, it is your problem. So the last part of this is, I'd ask you to ask yourself this question, right? If you really care about a problem, you would be engaging with the problem. So if you're not engaging with it, do you even care? And that's the first thing I want to talk about, really, is this, right? Get out there, get into the world, and engage the problem. So how does this relate to startups? How does this relate to innovation?